since I got this car and we first fixed it up, I've been dailying it, and it's been really good to me. We haven't had any major problems. But just recently I was driving it and I had a pretty serious oil leak. I just assumed it was the oil pan gasket, which stinks because in these cars you either have to pull the whole engine or drop the whole suspension and subframe to get to the oil pan. So hopefully it's not that, but either way we're gonna jack it up, and then while we're working on it, have it torn apart. I got some new spark plugs and belts, and we're just gonna revamp this thing and get it all nice so that we don't have any more problems when we want to start upgrading it. But before we put it up and start tearing the subframe off, we want to make sure there's not something stupid leaking down onto the engine.
Just jack it up, I guess, and look underneath.
Here's our oil pan and here's our subframe. So as you can see, there's a lot of crap we're gonna have to move out of the way if we drop the subframe, which of course is connected to everything. All we have to do is actually unbolt the subframe, undo the tie rod ends and the sway bar linkages. We'll have to pull the tires off and pull the calipers and let them hang just so we don't have to mess with the brake lines. And then once we do that, we should be able to either drop the subframe or lower the whole car and then pick it back up with a lack of subframe.
Yeah.
So excited. Looks all right. So now that hopefully will stay there. And all this suspension stuff is getting dropped. Ta-da! Okay, so we just got done with this side of the sway bar. Now we can pull that off, swing it forward, and then we're done in the wheel well. We can throw the wheels back on, and then get under it and start disconnecting the steering rack and probably loosening up the bolts to the subframe. Also, move your tie rod.
Oh, it's hot as balls! Yeah, watch out, that might be a little hot. So that was the last bolt out of the subframe. We're just gonna throw the wheels back on, lower it down, leave it overnight so we're not having like 3 jacks in the engine crane and everything overnight. Then first thing in the morning, we're just gonna unbolt the subframe with the wheels on the ground, jack the car up, and lift the engine up at the same time. Should be able to just wheel the subframe out from underneath it and start tearing the old oil pan off.
Bingo. See that crap? Okay. That all looks okay to me.
Pick it up tomorrow and leave the subframe on the ground.
See you tomorrow. All right, it's the next day. First thing we're gonna do, pull the hood. Then we're gonna take the engine crane over here, support the engine, and finish dropping the subframe and getting it out of there. There we go. We can't get the engine crane under the car because it's too dirt nasty low on stock ride heights. So we think we're gonna have to raise the car, put it on blocks, support the engine with the engine crane still, but get some jacks under the subframe and then lower the subframe down and hopefully not crush my skull.
Yeah, that's good.
That's safe. I wish I approved. Might be able to get in there with a creeper. It's just hanging chain off the rafters.
How strong do you think the rafters are? Dang, this might even work.
that gonna go right under? Do we need to Big money.
Right. All right. Roll out. Subframe. Final freaking lead.
Wow, that actually looked kind of bad for new oil. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh, this looks brand new. Yes.
Nice.
We did it. We did half of it. All right, so we're just gonna degrease and power wash basically everything we took out because it's gross and I want it clean. Sit for a minute, break down the greases.
I think you're gonna need a brush.
Oh, that's gonna work. Oh yeah.
You want like a screwdriver?
Is there a shot of that? Yeah, that's what's up right there.
Weight reduction.
Weight reduction is right. Okay, here we go. Oil pan baffle. The idea of this is to like under huge G forces, you don't dry your oil pickup tube. All right, so we have the surfaces of the pan and the baffle all prepped, and we have everything ready to go back in. But we don't have a small enough torque wrench to properly torque down the bolts that hold the pan in. So for tonight, we're just gonna throw it in loosely, just so nothing gets dirty or anything. And then soon, probably tomorrow night, we're gonna pull it back off, actually put the RTV on, do everything right, and then fill it up and put everything back together. All right, it's the next day. We're gonna pull this pan out, get the RTV on and the gasket pieces, throw it back in, and start putting everything back together. All right, so here's our gasket. Got 2 half moons to go on either side, and some RTV. Okay, now the oil pan's all set and hopefully not leaking. We're gonna put some oil in it. Watch for any leaks. While we do that, we're gonna paint the subframe just so it doesn't rust anymore. And then we're gonna start throwing everything back together. So let's get it done. And now, instead of doing any like prep work to make sure this works, I'm just gonna not do that. And done. All right, so subframe's all bolted in, everything's tight. Engine's completely supported by the subframe now. So I think it's time to just start bolting everything back on. Power steering, get the tie rods back in place, get the sway bar back in place, put the wheels on, hook the brakes up, and then I think we're rolling. Alright, it's tomorrow. All we got left is to connect these tie rod ends, throw the brakes back together, put the wheels on, and we'll roll. Hopefully when we start it, we don't have any leaks, there's enough oil in it, and I don't have to drive the Neon anymore. I think that's actually everything. All that's left in the tray, hood bolts. So now we just gotta get the chains off the engine, get this thing off its blocks, and drive it out of here. All right, here we go. Almost certain the battery's gonna be dead. It's more than I thought it would have.
Sounds like it's still got oil in it, that's good.
Good, perfect. All right, so we still have the chains dangling and the whole apparatus hanging from the ceiling, so we can't actually open the garage door, but it's time to benefit from owning a low car. We're only gonna open the door about here, and hopefully we'll fit under.
We don't even think it's high enough.
We got that. Finally get to drive it again. Okay, so I've been driving around for a little bit. I haven't had any leaks, haven't had any problems. It seems like the oil pan actually worked and we did a good job. Now all that's left to do is we got a belt for all the bits, we got some new spark plugs, and since it can't seem to hold a charge, I got a new battery. Yeah, honestly, these aren't even like that bad, but we have the new ones, so we're gonna change them. Alright, now we'll just change the belt real quick and do the battery. Here's a nice moist belt.
I think that's on. That's how you can properly install a belt.
Done.
Ship it.
Battery time. There she was. here, I also bought a new one of these bulbs. Went in my mouth. Done. What up now? Let's see what a new battery can do.